What's going on, traders? Happy Thursday to you. It's March 2nd today, and we're going over the S&P 500 and a few other things. Markets ending higher today. A final print 397.81, closing about 3/4% higher. A major news event today, Bostic coming out and saying that they favor a 2.5 rate increase instead of that 0.5%, and that caused bears to get trapped, and we saw an aggressive move up. We've been talking in the last video about the risk to reward as far as the short side, in my opinion, was not very optimal, and this is exactly why you do not chase moves down. So bears, are still in control in the sense that we are still underneath here the 9 and the 20 and the 50 on the daily chart. So that is something to keep in mind. However, we still are in these slightly oversold readings here, starting to curl up, but I don't see any type of divergence yet. I want to still keep an eye on how that develops. So I do like, however, that we are closing back above this trend. That is a good sign. Could get a bit of a pullback retest and then move up higher, so we'll be watching for that. Let's take a look at the daily trends here and see where we landed. All right, so we came into this zone again on these bigger trend lines and now pushed back above. So that is another encouraging sign as well. However, bulls, of course, are not out of the woods yet. If you guys like the content, the videos, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, and that is much appreciated. Let me know what you think in the comments as well. Are we going lower, higher? I'd love to hear your input and feedback. All right, so what else I wanted to cover today was, of course, we've been watching TNX. And look at this move higher. I believe this probably happened on the jobs data. And look at that gap up all the way here now into what we were talking about in previous videos, that 40-80 level. We came right into that. And now we're going to have to watch and see how this reacts. However, big gap here. But as we know, a lot of times these gaps get filled, so that would be encouraging for the bulls as far as a move higher. But this definitely was quite the move to the upside today. So we want to keep an eye on that. They are ending almost 2% higher today. So yeah, and the dollar as well. Whoops. The dollar as well. Oh my gosh. All right, so the dollar as well, we've been watching it here, still closing over the daily 9, 20, and 50, still sitting in this type of flag. Did not break over the highs from the 27th of February, but we certainly made a nice run today, and then of course we pulled back a little bit at the end of the day with that squeeze. But this still looks constructive. We'll have to see how this develops as well. We were talking yesterday or the day before about the scenario that we could just come back and forth in this range and bounce around, and that would probably keep us still stuck in this broader consolidation that we have been watching for some time now, and bears really can't get excited until we break up and over this area, over this 404.30. That's when we can start to feel a little bit more confident as far as that long angle is concerned. But 400, of course, is going to be the next big test for them to see if we can't get over, and a really nice sign on Friday if we close over that 400. That would be very encouraging for the bulls. But we shall see what tomorrow brings us. All right, so let's get into today's price action. and we'll go over the notes and what I did. Okay. Actually, first thing I want to bring up before we go into this, because this bigger descending wedge here that I'm talking about on ES, in our pre-market plan, I was talking to the sharks about this. I had posted it as well. I do not think I posted it on Twitter. I was talking about this falling wedge setup taking place here, and I wanted to watch, of course, this morning. I noticed us opening up pretty much right at that downtrend, so I was telling them that I felt a little bit more bias to the long side today, and you know that we saw that such a big move down in Globex. I was again thinking that rubber band theory, and I believe I talked about that in yesterday's video, that if we did see that sell-off, that I would be favoring the long, and because we were seeing that sell-off, that I wanted to see where we would open, and I probably would be favoring the long in the morning. And we did get long, and played the plan that we put forth. However, I did take a short at one time, and I'll show you guys that. And of course, I got stopped out there, a little painful, but we'll go over everything here, of course. All right, so here's the bigger descending wedge trend line that I'm talking about. We came down, came in, retested. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, cool. All right, so we came down into it, came back in, retested that area. We went long, probably right about around 10 o'clock, I believe, either on this pullback somewhere in this area. Came up here, held, started taking some profits here. Now, this is where I got in a little bit of trouble. We broke this trend line, and you know, I was looking at the dollar, I was looking at rates. They were, you know, up a ton today, so that kind of threw me off. You know, this came down. We did break this uptrend, so we had a break of structure, but you could, you know, I think call this still a lower, a higher low. And the other thing, that when we came into this level, this 393.36 was the bottom of the larger consolidation range that we've been watching, Satan's chop box. Let me show you here. Okay, you can see it right here. We came in, tested it once, tested it twice, and then came back over. So that is where we saw that buy reaction, and to be honest with you, I missed this area where exactly we were, and that threw me off. I did notice that we kept on, and if you know, we kept on defending here, and so that did make me a bit nervous, but I had a lack of insight there, not seeing that we were at the bottom of this range again. And I was talking about this level being important. I believe in yesterday's video I said I wanted to see if we would close over it or open over it or under it, and that also might guide my decision making a little bit as far as my bias, but I fumbled the ball on that. So let's go back really quickly. You can see how clean that is as well. So I did take a short trade right up here as we came in, retested. We broke, retested. You know, we've taken this trade before many times. We came down here, and I did start to scale because, you know, with this tight range that we had, 392 to 394, $2. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, more of a scalp day. I'm going to lower my expectations. However, we did bounce here, and my warning sign where I should have just completely gotten out, and this 394, we've been talking about that 394, 394.20 is being a very important area. When we recaptured that demand zone, I should have just gotten out. I think that would have been my warning sign there. Now, of course, here, this candle is when that news of Bostic came out, driving us way higher, and I, of course, got out of my position on I wasn't. Was I in? I think I was in futures and in options. I got out of both positions here. So we traded here a bit long, long trade. Tried a short here, got stopped out, of course, here. This was my warning sign, like I said, that 394. So I'm not really happy how I performed in this general area. Didn't read the market. The other thing was, when I noticed this distribution here, when we had kind of a fake break over that 394 and started to come down, for me, my risk on this short, I was willing to hold through this. My risk was up here. For me, if we didn't get over this area, I was willing to hold that short. But of course, with the news, that got taken out very quickly. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and I don't trade on the 5-minute, but I did also notice the hourly flag here. So I'm going to pull that up really quickly. Let me get off the annotations, but I'll just go on here because it will be cleaner. Okay. And it's really a picture perfect setup here. All right. So here coming up, consolidating right into that bottom of the larger consolidation, and then boom. I don't know if we would have gotten a move like that. The news obviously helped, but obviously huge reaction here to the upside. So I think that I probably would have gotten stopped out anyway. It was a trade still I was willing to take with the range and that distribution area there, but I was on the wrong side of that one, and that was not fun. But I adapted, and then I got long, and we'll talk about that here in a second. So let's go back to this chart really quickly. Where we left off here, the 394 demand recapture and that consolidation into that hourly flag. News breakout here. I still was a little tentative. We had that 395 pivot. We had the 395.50 here where we actually initiated the point of pain and the sell-off in Globex yesterday. And so I just wanted to be cautious. I waited. And I didn't want to chase this move, with the market. It's being, very volatile up and down, a lot of fake outs in both directions. I wanted to wait and see if we could get over that pivot area, and then I was going to make a decision from there. All right, so once we got over that area, I'm sure, because we saw that huge sell reaction earlier from this area, all these shorts probably got squeezed out there, and that's why after we broke over, we saw a secondary squeeze. I think, this news here trapped a lot of bears offsides, and they were either reshorting or scrambling to cover their position. So we came in here, started to consolidate, make a nice little flag. So this is where I entered long again on calls and futures, and we had a nice push higher, came in, retested that trend line, did a nice BRB here, so it gave a secondary entry. I got in earlier. I got in, somewhere around the power hour 2:30. I think I got in sometime around here. I got in. Now at this point, I was red on the day. Obviously from this, this move didn't really, make me that much. So I think I was green, and then I went red, and then I was like green, red, and then here obviously I went red. So it was a real roller coaster today for me. But the main thing is, once the chart is telling you a different story, and sure, there were signs here. Again, I don't know. Probably the breakout would have come to here. I would have to think if we did get it. I don't know. I don't think we would have gotten this type of move. However, that's just speculation, and we can't really say what price would have done without that news. But the setup was there. So I had gotten in here long. This was nice for me. Got about 20 points or so out of the futures, about 35% on some calls, and this brought me green today. Of course, the 397.55 area 50 key level that we have been talking about. And we can see what happened. I posted this part on my Twitter. Let's watch for how price reacts over this level, and you can see here the huge squeeze up after we broke over that key area, and yeah, and that's where I started taking profits into this momentum. So that was nice, and that's exactly what we wanted to see there. And these moves at these levels that I'm talking about to you guys, 397.50, 394, 394.20. You can see the reactions that we're having around them. So again, just my opinion, they are important, but of course, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go over today as far as the intraday price action. What are we looking for tomorrow? Well, I would say we're going to have to see. Now we've had a really aggressive move higher. Are we above value? Yes. Well, let's look at the hourly here. Let's get some regular, just plain old chart. Okay. So now we've had this aggressive move. We're still on the hourly. We're still on inside value area high up by 401. My next level, if we are able to at least hold that 395, I would be looking. If we come down to 395 pivot zone, again, I'll probably be looking to come back up to that 397.50. But if we can hold over 397.50, and that's a big if. I'd suspect some type of pullback. I don't know how large it is, but some type of a retracement I think would be very possible tomorrow, and then we can set up to make another move higher. But as long as we're holding over that 397.50, my next target's going to be the big 400. We might not get there. We can see here our price has had some issues up right around real close to that 400, so we want to watch around maybe 399.30, and we'll see if we can get over that. Yeah, we'll probably, I mean, that's only 20 more 80 more cents, but or so, but then we'll probably get that 400. If we break over though, we could really see another strong reaction higher, especially if we get over that 400 again and bears get trapped off sides. We can see a bigger move to the upside. I'd probably be looking, well, this isn't that much higher, 40, 30, if we get over that 400, I'd probably be looking for this here. And why am I picking this? Again, that point of pain here, you can see the huge reaction around that 401 area. So if we get over that 401, 400, I'd probably be looking for targets in that 401.80 zone. And then from there, we'll have to see, but maybe that 402.50, and then potentially coming up into that high here at that 404.30 zone. But as you can see, we do have this trend line. So depending on when we get there, if we get there, this trend line also is something we want to watch and pay attention for. Could see some price rejection in these zones. Again, I don't know which day we're going to come into it, if it's going to be tomorrow or next week, but let's watch that. Of course, it's sloping down, and the price will be lower each time. But if we come in here next week, Monday, that's only going to be at 401. If we get over that, that would be pretty nice, because if we do it Monday, of course, this is all hypothetical. We've got that shift here that we're looking at. But if we do it Monday, it's going to line up right with the trend line. And if that happens, this is setting us up for the squeeze to move higher here. So that will be an interesting scenario. And then if we in fact can get out of this consolidation, we're going to see a pretty big move. I'm probably looking for this gap to fill. Maybe we'll get up to 406 and then see if we can't fill it up to, oh wait, where does it start here? Yeah, 406 to 406.80, 85 area. So let's look for that. that would be my guess if we actually break out of this consolidation. That will fill that gap, and then we can go from there. To the downside, we have to get under 395.50. That's going to be the first point that the Bears are going to want to see give up. Let's just look at the 4-hour really quickly, though. Let's just look at. All right, we are still below value here on the 4-hour, so that's interesting. Value area low. Where is it? Okay, it's at 398.95. So let's look for that and see what the reaction is there. If we get over that, that's definitely going to be a good sign. That's going to propel us to that 400. VOPC here on the 4-hour 410.92. So let's pay attention to that as well. All right, so for the Bears, they're definitely going to want to break. Unless we can get back under that 395.50, I'll stay probably pretty bullish. We could come in. Let's watch, of course, the 397.50. That's going to be a good marker as well for where we might be heading. Under that 395.50, I'll be watching again for that 395 even. So that whole zone, I would say, pay attention to. And if we can get under that, as far as the bear case is concerned, then we'll be looking back for the 394s. But at that case, if we do come into that 394, and can I go a little bit further here? Am I all the way? Okay, I guess I am. Hold on. If we can, oh shit. All right, hold on. Okay, if we do come down into that 394, I would probably be favoring the long at that point. Especially as we come in to retest this trend line again, I'll be watching for that. If we do come into this area, I will be looking. I mean, it's very possible we can, if they start to break it down under that 395, that we come in and retest these highs again around 394, 50, 60 area. That could be another area that they are going to want to target and then push us back up. The 394.50 would make sense for the bear case, and you can see this breakdown candle here, POP. So that might happen, and that would be pretty normal price action to come and retest that base from where we broke out of and then move it up higher. But they've got a lot of work to do. So it's tough to get bearish unless we're really under that 395.50 for me, and then 395. You can see that breakdown here, so I'll be watching that, and then look for those moves to the 394s and maybe a retest here. But still, with these developments and these reactions, we're going to really have to see. I was talking about being slightly still bearish, but now since we've closed over 395.50 and the daily VOPC, which I believe was sitting around 396.80, we're going to have to look for be a little bit more bullish again. And again, I said that still holding that 390 for me is going to be the real big make or break point. But it was certainly troublesome closing under that that 397.50 and how we were under 395. So of course you got to be flexible. I try to provide both cases for you guys, the downside and the upside. Of course, just my opinion, but either way, I hope you guys find the information and my viewpoints helpful. I hope you have a good rest of your day and night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.